Welcome to Roadflytv, your latest automotive fix from Roadfly.com.
I'm Charlie Romero for Roadfly.com, and we're here at the launch of the 2009 Porsche Carrera, and I'm with Michael Niko, who is the managing engineer on the new PDK transmission that Porsche has available in the 2009-11. Now, the new PDK transmission basically replaces the Tiptronic, and the original PDK transmissions started way back in the mid to late 80s when Porsche was using them in their race cars, the famous 959 race car, the famous 962 race cars. So now, Michael, tell me about some of the differences between a PDK transmission and the Tiptronic transmission that we used to have in a 911.
Okay, in a PDK transmission, it's a double clutch transmission, and in a double clutch transmission, we combine two technologies. We combine the technology of the automatic converter with the technology of the manual transmission. We have in a double clutch transmission, we have two manual transmissions in one gearbox, you know.
Now, is this the double clutch down here?
Yes, this is the heart of every double clutch transmission, the double clutch itself. In our case, it's a radial positioned double wet clutch. Wet means the clutch package will work in hydraulic fluid.
And what is the purpose of having it wet?
The purpose to having it wet is to get out the energy, because we have a lot of additional functions for the 911 Carrera. For example, we have the launch control, which is an automated slip-controlled race start. There we have a lot of slip in the clutch, and we have to bring the energy out, the energy and the temperature out of the...
Okay, so by energy you mean really the heat dissipation?
Yes, yes.
So the fluid around the clutches themselves is there to dissipate the heat, to help with the friction. Yes. And now there's two clutches here. There's this outer clutch and then there's the inner clutch. So why again are there two? I know that with the PDK, one of the objects is to have a set of gears running maybe 1, 3, and 5 and 7, and then the second set running as 2, 4, and 6. So how do the dual clutches work with the separate sets of gears?
Yes. We have two clutches. The outer clutch, as you already mentioned. The outer clutch, we say the clutch number 1, is connected with a part transmission number 1 with the odd gears, with the first, with the third, with the fifth and the seventh plus reverse. And we have the second clutch, the inner clutch, which is connected to the part transmission number 2 with the even gears, with the second, with the fourth, and with the sixth gear.
Okay, so now if let's say you're under hard acceleration, we're pulling away from the stoplight, and we need to get in front of the 18-wheeler. If I'm in first gear, does this second clutch help me get from first gear to second gear, or what exactly is it doing?
It's like that. When you are in first gear, you have the power flow through the outer clutch package, and we are engaged in the first gear. Then you pre-select in the transmission. The second gear is already pre-select. The selector fork has the gear engaged, and when you now shift from first to second gear, you open the clutch number 1 and you close the clutch number 2 simultaneously in the same time.
So it's instantaneous. There isn't a lag shifting from first to second
There's no lack of power. There's no traction.
So is there any way in an old school manual transmission where I'm pushing in the clutch, is there any way I can shift as fast as this gearbox?
No.
Not even close. No. Is this going to shift at the same speed as, say, a Formula 1 car?
It's even faster, because Formula 1 you have the traction interruption. You don't have the two clutches.
So there is a slip between a second and third gear in an F1 car, but there isn't in the new Porsche PDK.
Yes, in an F1 car you have a traction interruption around about 50 milliseconds. But here, when you define the gear shift time for traction interruption, you have 0 time, with a full throttle upshift.
Now let's talk a little bit about the fuel efficiency. I imagine that this 7-speed PDK transmission is going to be considerably more efficient from a fuel standpoint than the old Tiptronics, and then even more efficient than a manual transmission.
Yes.
What are some of the benefits of the PDK? How does it become more fuel efficient?
Yes. Mainly we do this with an ideal gear stepping, with a perfect ratio arrangement. We have a 7-speed double clutch transmission. We have 7 gears, but we have 6 gears and 1 gear which is an overdrive, And this 7th gear will be engaged very early and very often. For example, we engage the 7th gear already at a vehicle speed of 74 kilometers an hour. That means the engine speed will be very low, and this leads to this remarkable saving of fuel.
Okay, now how do you cool off the clutch packs? So what are you doing to cool those off?
The cooling of the clutch packs, we do of the automatic transmission fluid. We have here an oil-water heat exchanger, which is connected here by these lines with the oil chamber of the hydraulics, and
okay, so you have ATF fluid that runs through here,
yes,
and that gets cooled by the water that
yes,
is the same water that's going through the radiation system that cools
yes,
the engine.
Yes.
Okay, fantastic. And now, so this is all the clutch system, and now this entire thing, is that going to be fluid? Is it going to be?
Yes.
It's all a wet environment, even where these wires are.
Yes. We have 2 oil chambers in our double clutch transmission. It's something special in the PDK. We have a special fluid, an automatic transmission fluid, ATF, for clutch and hydraulics. And we have a special fluid for the mechanical gear set itself. There we have gear oil.
All right, folks, well, I guess that about wraps up. That's sort of a long explanation, but this is such innovative technology that really helped Porsche achieve some fantastic fuel efficiency numbers on the new 911. I wanted to sort of spend a little bit of quality time with it and show you the PDK. Thanks for joining us on this edition of Roadflytv, and thank you, Michael Niko from Porsche.
You're welcome.
Roadfly.com, the internet's best resource for buyers, sellers, and owners like you.